A warm welcome to A Lift to Work with Tina and Kate, a coaching podcast by two healthcare professionals and friends. We are nurses, master NLP coaches, hypnotherapists. We're also mums and jugglers of many commitments, just like you.
You are in for a treat. We will share informal coaching tips, coping strategies, and how to effectively change your mindset. So hop on board with us for A Lift to Work.
See you in a minute.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to A Lift to Work. Today, we've got quite a special episode today, Tina and I have for you. So we thought that you'd like to know a little bit more about us, especially for our new listeners. So we have been on the air for 12 months, joyous at 12 months, and we have loved every minute of it. So we thought we would let you know about us a little bit more. So Tina, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I feel like I'm being interviewed. This is very nice.
So Tina, tell us a little bit about you.
Well, I'm called Tina, and I live in Devon, in a seaside town called Dawlish, with my dog and my family. You ought to mention the humans as well. Got a daughter and a husband. And I've had a long career as a nurse, really. And I left mainstream NHS/charity sector about 2 years ago to work for myself. And I love it. So I work for myself and spend most of my time, about 80% of my time, as a coach and doing things like this. And I spend, work-wise that is, and 20% of my time being something called a celebrant. So I do weddings and baby namings and funerals and like the variety of all of that. And then I have a social life, but only a tiny little baby one, which mainly includes binge watching things, which I don't know if you call that a social life. I spend a lot of time on the sofa. But occasionally I go out as well, I like to see swim, gin and tonic, lots of things. And as a nurse, professional nurse, I am an RMN, I'm a registered general nurse. I've got a master's in something called gerontology, which is a posh way of saying the science of older people. And I'm a teacher as well, yeah. And in more recent times, that's how I met you, Kate. I became a coach, and I had been a coach on and off through my career, but I wanted to formalise that. So did a coaching qualification, and then very interested in something called NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. So did a course that gave me master's practitioner level in that, and it also includes hypnotherapy. So I feel like all of these little goodies in my life are now coming together around my ability to help people as a coach. So yeah, so that's a bit of me, really.
Amazing. So I'm just going to backtrack a little bit with your nursing. Where did you start?
Well, I started in the West Midlands, where I did my general nurse training. Immediately worked with older people. Then I drifted into A&E departments, ended up working in orthopedics, putting plasters on people when they were actually plasters and not, resin. You'll know what that means if you're a nurse. And I also then worked with a fantastic nurse who I thought was amazing, and decided that what made him amazing was that he was also a mental health nurse. So I went to Scotland, trained as a mental health nurse. So I'm dual trained, and then I found myself moving into senior leadership positions. I think mainly because I wanted to affect the way that other nurses practiced. And I don't know if that says a bit about my control freakery or the fact that I want people to have the best possible experience. I think if you're a nurse leader, you can influence that. So I never designed it this way, but I ended up having a career where I got to a really senior level as clinical director, and then left the NHS when it started to really change a lot. I worked in the community and it started to be very different from the job I'd started 5 years previous. And thought, wow, wouldn't it be great to go and work in the independent sector? So I worked for a hospice, a charity hospice, for 5 years as clinical director. And sort of worked through the pandemic with them, really, which was a moment in time for me when I think it made me find my most resourceful nurse leader for sure.
Okay.
But it also took its toll on my well-being, life-work balance. So when we came out of it, I just thought, that's enough now. You've had a long career, you've given a lot in that 9 to 5 world, which it isn't 9 to 5, any nurse will tell you that straight away. But that it's okay to step away from that now and do something different. So hence, yeah, moving out of mainstream nursing, I guess you could call it, into being an independent nurse as a coach.
So is that, did you know, like when you came out of, I'm going to say, your mainstream nursing, you know what you wanted to do, or did you just like happen upon?
It's so interesting, that question, isn't it? Because I knew what I wanted to achieve. So I'm good with people and I'm a fairly effective communicator. And it made me always feel really delighted when somebody I'd worked with maximised their potential, gave me a real genuine sense of joy when I happened upon somebody in the supermarket who went, "God, I worked with you 5 years ago and you said to me I should do my nurse training, and I did, and now I'm a registered nurse," for example. And just seeing people flourish, and it gives me a really great buzz. That's my why. I really, really enjoy it. And seeing people's like limiting beliefs just evaporate, it does a lot for me. So I knew what I wanted to do. I did some of that in my day-to-day work, but I thought it'd be good to know the science behind this, the theories, and whether I'm doing it properly or I'm just guessing how to do it. And that's when I found the course. And yeah, I mean, a lot of it was confirmation of what I did was in the right direction, but also it helps you understand the science behind it as well, theories, which I do enjoy. So yeah, I'm in the right place. I feel that for sure.
Amazing. And you mentioned about your celebrant work. So for listeners that may not know what a celebrant is
It's a person that officiates ceremony or the sense of ceremony that people might want, who isn't of a religious background, I guess. So a celebrant is more open to any sense of ceremony that you want to have. And I'm not of any particular faith, but I'm accepting of faith as well if people want some of that in their ceremony. So that's what a celebrant is. And then they're becoming more popular. I think I read a statistic the other day, it said 50% of ceremonies like weddings are now being performed by celebrants. So there's clearly, in a world where maybe not as many people go to a formal faith place to worship as they did like when our grandparents were around. Yeah. So that's what that bit of me is.
Fabulous. So now we're going to talk about your coaching, because obviously I know that you have got your coaching business, which is the Devon Coach. Within that, what else have you been up to?
Well, the Devon Coach is a one-man show, woman show, actually, I should say, which is me. And I really like working with high-performing teams. So it started off with me going into organizations and saying, like, how can your team be high-performing? You know, where are they? If we assess them now, where are they? And how much closer to high performance could they be? So there's a whole bit on my website about high performance. And I work with teams very comfortably. I don't mind being in a room with a lot of people. But of course, teams are made up of individuals. So then what you find yourself doing is coaching individuals within the senior team. And some people would call that executive coaching if they were being posh, and I suppose it is. But what it really is, it's never just coaching about work, because you take yourself to work. So the coaching is about the whole of you, and what is it that might bother you in your day-to-day that's getting in the way of you really maximising your potential and performing. So that might be that you've got a bit of imposter syndrome, or you have a lot of overwhelm, or you want everything to be perfect. And these are the things that coaching can really support you to sort out.
Mhm.
So, and I see it every day. I've coached 3 people this week, and they've all had breakthroughs of different kinds about this kind of stuff. So that's what I get up to.
Do you combine your coaching and your celebrant work?
Yes, I do. Yeah, I mean, I've recently, the two worlds have kind of combined around me having written a book. So I've written a book that's called The Happy Wedding Book, The Guide to Combating Stress When You're Wedding Planning. And it's available on Amazon if anyone wants to go and find it. And it is really a practical tips and techniques, very like what we do, Kate, on the podcast. Because, I've been at wedding fairs, and honestly, I've wanted to cry inside when I've seen the amount of stress that couples are going through. It's just heartbreaking. So I had a look, and there is nothing out there like this. So this is the Happy Wedding Book is my first publication as an author to try and get people some tools that they can pick up for a nice affordable price and work through on their own.
That's amazing. That's
Thank
amazing. So
you.
now we've talked a bit about background and a little bit about work. So tell me something fun. Tina, tell me
Fun.
something fun. I know lots of fun things about you. What do you like to do in your spare time? Because I know that you go cold water swimming in the sea. I know.
I do. I love cold water swimming. I wouldn't have gotten the sea before lockdown, but because you couldn't get in the swimming pool, found myself in the sea. And actually, I do think all that science about how invigorating and amazing it is absolutely true. I'm not a strong swimmer, but I'm a good bobber. I get in and I bob, and I always come out and I feel like so exhilarated for the cold water. So I'm even one of these people that the last, 2 minutes of their shower I'll have as a cold shower, which is crazy in some ways. And you never would have thought. I love friends and time with people. I love, my favorite biscuit is probably oddly a Garibaldi because it reminds me of my grandma. And it's no longer with us. And yeah, I just am a person who does stop and stare at things and enjoys the everyday joy. The dog, the birds on my feeder. I get a lot of pleasure from that, a lot of pleasure from laughing at absolute nonsense with my mates. So, yeah,
Well, that's perfect for this podcast, isn't
yeah,
it? Hey?
totally. So, yeah, I like a bit of nonsense. So, yeah, thanks for asking, Kate. Yeah.
Now, like just before we go, give our listeners wonderful words of wisdom. If you could go back, and if you could go back to your younger you, what like what advice would you give?
I always think I would go back and just say, you're absolutely fine as you are. You will learn and you will grow, and everything will be amazing. But don't keep questioning who you are and what you're about. Because I think a lot of young people, and younger me was definitely very self-critical. And I think it got in the way of me doing lots in my life. So that would be my advice to younger me. You're all right as you are.
Oh, I like that very much, and I think that probably resonates
Yeah.
with quite a lot of listeners, doesn't it? Actually, you know what? You're all right. Just keep going.
Yeah, just as you are. Yeah. So what about you, Kate? Tell me a bit about how you came to be where we are now today.
Oh, well, it kind of started with a massive breakdown, really. I I've been nursing since 2004
Yeah.
in different guises, mostly A&E. And I'm not going to lie, if you cut me down the middle, I am pretty much A&E all the way. I'm
Mhm.
one of those people that kind of thrives on the busyness, the constant going and coming and all of that kind of stuff. But it's only got a select shelf life. I know
Mm.
you know that as well. Um, and after I had my kids, I I knew I needed to change. when I came home from work on the one day, and my big one, who was what, 5 at the time, she said to me, "Mummy, let me read you a story, a bedtime story." So I had my shower and I got into bed with her, and she woke me up and she said, "Mummy, Mummy, Mummy, I read you to sleep."
Oh,
And I thought, no, I can't. I don't want to do this
no.
anymore, because I was missing out on so much of their, their childhood. Um, Little one wouldn't speak to me at all if I'd
Mm.
done 3 nights in a row. She was like, "No, wouldn't have me." Um, so then I moved to teaching.
Ah.
So it was a day job. I loved it, loved it. But life kind of catches up, doesn't it?
Mm.
So I did have I did have a breakdown. I'd got, I was on medication for my anxiety, for my
Mm.
depression. And I did what any person would do in that situation to get out of the job that they were in. So I went for a promotion, which
That's the kind of crazy thing that actually happens, though, isn't it? Yeah.
I know, because why would I even do that? I don't even know. I don't. But when you're in that situation, you don't necessarily
In the
you don't
moment you're in, you
own your
think
own
it's the right
mind.
solution, don't you? Yeah.
Yeah, and I just needed to get out.
Did you get the promotion?
I did. I did. Yes. Yeah. Maxed myself out on my antidepressants. I learned a lot.
Ah.
I learned a lot. But not only did not only did I decide to go up in the world, I chose a job that's, working on awards. I haven't
Mm.
worked on awards since I was newly qualified. Like, and looking back, I'm like, what was I thinking?
Mm.
But if I hadn't done it, I wouldn't be where I am now, and I wouldn't be able to support other people
Yeah.
in a similar situation. Like, if I knew then what I know now, I don't think I'd have had my breakdown in the first place.
I know it's so, yeah. I mean, you can really support people because you've had such a lived experience of that.
Yeah. Um, so worked, I went back to teaching. So I was teaching through COVID, so
Mm.
missed the front line stuff. Um, but was still not in a great place. So 2020, September, handed my notice in. November, I came off my antidepressants.
Mm.
And if that doesn't tell you what the problem was,
Yeah.
you know,
Bit of a clue. What did you
so
do
I
after you handed your notice in?
smiled. Now, listeners, I'm not saying hand your notice in the world is going to be better. But for me, it was, I did agency
Yeah.
because I knew what I wanted to do. I just didn't know how to do it or the way
Mm.
to get there. I've always known I'm a spiritual person, and
Mm.
I'm a healer and I'm an empath, and I see people, and I've always known I want to help people to be better in
Mm.
one way or another. I just didn't know how to do it. So I've done agency since 2020, and not looked back. But then last year, which was when I did my coaching with you, Tina, I was like, this is what I want to do, because I know how much of a difference it makes. So I did the course that we did together, and it changed my life.
Mm.
It absolutely changed my life. Things that I would bother about before don't bother me anymore.
Mm.
Things that would have really wound me up, I've got better ways of dealing with them. Relationships. It's changed the dynamics of my relationships for the better.
Mm.
And I kind of feel a lot more chilled
Yeah.
than I was.
It's
Not
like we could become converts. I think we're both converts, aren't we,
mm,
to it all, and our connection, because we were on the course together. And I mean, the first time I heard you say anything on that course, I thought, wow, what an amazingly compassionate, kind human. And oh my God, she's the nurse. And I think you and I saw the place that this could have, coaching could have in nursing. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And I I use my coaching, everything that I learn, I use every single day, whether it be on the family or with the family or in my place of work, wherever I'm working at that particular time. I coach patients a lot. I coach staff a lot into better ways of thinking, better ways of working,
Yeah.
and making everything. It's just a more productive way.
So tell people about your coaching business then. So you do work as a nurse actively, but your coaching business is alongside that, I think.
Yeah. So I have Kate Title Coaching, where I coach one-to-one with health professionals who are struggling really with the demands of the job to get a better mindset, a more resilient way of thinking, to live a better life, to have a better work-life balance, and not feel trapped
Mm,
in it, in a position that they don't want to be in. And it's kind of morphing,
mm,
every day it's going into something new. So now I'm developing a membership for health professionals as a one point place of contact where you can access online courses for things like stress, anxiety, toxic workplaces. What do you do with those? How to communicate better, how to get the best out of your patients, how to get the best out of work, and it's all about making work for you and not
yeah.
the other way around. And I'm really excited about it because I know there's so much in there
Mm,
that people will find useful. And yes, every health organization has got well-being, but you've got to go here for this bit and here for that bit and here for something else. But this is it's a one-stop shop that's got everything that you could possibly need, including group coaching sessions or individual coaching
mm,
sessions if you want them, a bit of hypnotherapy, relaxation, all in one place that you can access at any time of day and not between normal working hours, which as well as I do, if you're a shift worker, that it doesn't always work. You don't want to be having to get up after a night
no.
shift. So
Yeah.
it's right there for you when you want it. It's called Mindful Refresh. I'm really
Mindful,
excited about it.
mindful read fresh. I really like that. I mean, we'll pop all our what we're up to's in the show notes, but look out for Kate's membership.
Yeah.
Help, I don't know what you're going to call it, organization, but that I can't think of anything more valid. And I was with the University of Plymouth. I'll give them a shout out this week, and I just said to them, if every single nurse and every trainee nurse and every single healthcare professional just found their way to our free podcast, I honestly think they get some benefit, and it's
Yeah.
free. It's free, so if you don't already tell your mates about this, please do pass it on, because that's part of Kate and I have that endeavour. We do have businesses and we need to earn our crust, but outside of that, we absolutely do want to create and do create free resources for our colleagues. We know
Mm.
not everyone can afford a whole coaching package, but they can maybe dip in and dip out. So I'm excited for that, Kate. That sounds good. So when you're
Yeah.
not doing all of that, then what are you up to?
Well, I, as you will know, have the two children who I'd like to say they take up a lot of time, but because of their ages, they just come home from school and go straight up into their bedrooms to be seen at tea time. Full stop. But we as a family like paddle boarding.
Nice.
And now the weather is much better. Well, it is at the moment. We are taking the boards out, and I like having quality time together because they're growing really quickly.
Yeah. And you
So,
live in
oh, I live in the middle, so Worcestershire.
middle of the UK. Yes.
Yes, right
Worcestershire.
in the middle.
Yeah.
And you know what? It's beautiful here. I've done a lot of traveling because after I qualified and before I met my husband dearest, I went traveling to Australia for 12 months, came back, went to Thailand for 5 weeks, and then came back and met him, which was a good thing because I love him very a lot. But I'd like to travel more to see so many more beautiful places, not necessarily abroad, because the UK is a beautiful place. So I like to travel.
Yes. Yeah, we share a lot of kind of things that give us pleasure, don't we? And I mean, that's kind of one of them for sure.
Yeah, cold water. So like Tina and I have got loads in common because I also like cold water swimming. I don't really know why. But yes, so swimming in cold water, I also like doing that.
Yeah. So,
And having fun and being childish. And I
yes.
am absolutely 100% okay with being childish. I'm all good with
Yes,
that.
find your inner child and have some fun. I mean, I would say, I agree with you that we don't play enough, do we? I mean, and be playful. And so you'll notice on the podcast from time to time that we might sort of go down a bit of an avenue where we are a little bit playful, but we do believe that it just helps embed that learning for you. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
I
we
was going to
have
say, I don't know what else to say.
Well, I think we
Trying to say
thoroughly
it
enjoyed
all.
chatting to you all, and we have had a few requests from people, who, can you tell us a bit about yourself? So hence this episode, which we'll drop in alongside all our others, really, maybe as an extra one. But yeah, it's great to get to know all of you as well as you getting to know us. And so Kate and I would really like to invite you to message us, subscribe, like, do all the things, give it stars, do all the things, because it does help more nurses and healthcare professionals access the podcast.
And if you have any burning questions, burning desires, things that you kind of want a little bit of help on, just drop us a message and we can add it to our repertoire for you.
Yes. Yeah, we're very flexible. That's the other thing that we have in common. Kate and I can turn on a tuppence, my grandma would have said, and we can do episodes, really quickly around certain topics. If people just say, "Look, can you do something about this?" And that has fueled a lot of our previous episodes. So when we hear from you, our clients, then we'll be maybe sharing some of your questions in the future. So yeah. Thanks for listening. This has been A Lift to Work with Tina.
And I'm Kate, and we hope you have a wonderful day.
Have a lovely day. Thank you.
Bye.
You have been listening to A Lift to Work with Tina and Kate. Please do like, subscribe, give it stars, let us have your suggestions, all the good things. And do remember, if you have a medical condition or anything we've covered in this podcast has left you concerned, then this is a fun podcast and it's not meant to be treatment. So please do go and seek all the help you need from medical professionals. Take care, everyone. We hope you are enjoying A Lift to Work.